Hello, namaste, a very good morning, all of you. Today is International Women's Day, and happy International Women's Day to all of you. And this is a special edition of Bihani Sambad, and my name is Vishwalimbu Samyankam. And today's program, on this auspicious occasion of International Women's Day, we'll be talking challenges of mountain women in Nepal, and of course, how is ICIMOD addressing these challenges. And to talk about this issue, we have Mr. David Molden, Director General of ICIMOD, right now in our talk show. So let's welcome him. Sir, welcome to the show.
Good morning, namaste, and happy Women's Day to you, Vishwa.
Okay, thank you so much. So at first, can you please tell us about ICIMOD? What is ICIMOD all about?
Yes, ICIMOD stands for Mountains and People. And so it's very much about mountain environment and people living in mountains. One question might be, why mountains? And maybe for Nepalis that's quite obvious because mountains are so important in this landscape. But for the world that's not necessarily obvious. But mountains are the storehouse of many of our precious resources. So if we think about water resources, our energy, our food security, timber products, our biodiversity, these are all coming from mountain areas. So it's not just mountain people who are dependent on these resources, but many people downstream. For example, about 1.3 billion people rely on water resources. Then if we think about food and energy from that, it's about 3 or 4 billion people, almost half of humanity. So it's pretty clear that we have to take care of mountains. But mountains themselves face special challenges in these days. So, for example, we have climate change and environmental change, and these resources, in a way, are under threat. And that's, by the way, one of the special roles of women, because they have a very special role in taking care of these mountain resources. But So the first thing is we need to tell the world mountains are important. But let me come back to ICIMOD. Then we address these mountain problems. We're what we call an intergovernmental organization, actually owned by 8 different mountain countries and hosted in Nepal. So we have as our member countries are Nepal, also Bhutan, India, China, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Myanmar, and Bangladesh. So all of these countries get together and have a stake in ICIMOD. And so what we want to do is learn lessons across those countries, share information, share knowledge across all of these countries with their mountain issues, because then we feel we can advance these issues about mountains. We're a knowledge center, so we try to get information, but we also very much try to share knowledge and apply that knowledge. We've been in existence for over 30 years and happily hosted in Nepal.
So when was ICIMOD, established, and how long it's been working for mountain women?
So about actually over 30 years ago, UNESCO was involved in the establishment of ICIMOD, and Nepal government actually stepped forward and offered to host ICIMOD. And officially, last year was our 30th anniversary of ICIMOD. So it's been quite some time now really addressing these issues of mountains and mountain people.
Okay, now just tell us about your experience in Nepal. So you've been here for 4 years. So how are you? Feeling here in Nepal?
First, I feel great. I've been here 3 years, over 3 years as Director General of ICIMOD. But before that, from 1991 to 95, I was also here in Nepal working on water and water issues.
Okay, that was another project.
That was not with ICIMOD.
Okay.
But in a way, it was a great experience. We did some innovative work in community management of water resources. Since then, I moved to both Egypt and then Sri Lanka, again working also in this region, also in Nepal at that time. But an opportunity came arose to came back to Nepal as director. I saw the advertisement. I said, that's exactly the job for me. I came back to Nepal. One interesting part of my life is, so when at that time when I came back to Nepal, then my daughter told us, oh, she wants to get married. Okay. And as it turns out, she was marrying a Nepali man.
Okay.
So I have a Nepali joy.
Joy.
And
Okay.
So the wedding ceremony was actually, in that first year when I was back in Nepal. So in a way, it's for me, I find it a very special relation with Nepal as well in my
cultural
whole life.
Accents also there.
Very, very much cultural exchange, and very, very much enjoy that opportunity as well in Nepal.
Okay, so we are on the spacious occasion of this International Women's Day. So what are the challenges of mountain women they are facing today?
Yeah, I'm always absolutely amazed at the strength of mountain women. So if we, you have to picture women in rural mountains in Nepal, the jobs that they have to do, right? It's not only family, cooking, cleaning, but a lot of the responsibilities in agriculture are there, or fetching wood are there in the mountains, or getting water to drink for the family. So it's a huge role that they play. And sometimes we feel that the society or cultural norms, in a way, makes it even more difficult sometimes. But on the other hand, women are definitely playing an important role in that environment. But what the world is changing now, and changing pretty fast, and there are some new challenges for mountain people, mountain women in particular. And one of those changes is migration, people moving out of mountain areas or hill areas. Who is it? It's especially men folk who are moving out to get new jobs in cities or to live abroad. And actually what that means is women have to do even more work to keep that going. But it also provides some opportunity to empower women as well. We also see some special challenges coming with the climate change too, and other environmental changes. So for example, we hear right across the hills of Nepal that springs are drying up, right? And women have a special association with the water supply. We also know that it's likely that we're more and more under threats from floods, and so picture women in the villages who really, they're the ones who are probably most under threat. So in a way, women are bearing the brunt of these environmental changes. But on the other hand, women are the caretakers of environment. And remembering that first statement about how the rest of the world is dependent on mountains, women have a special role in taking care of that environment, both for Nepal but for other places in Asia.
So to overcome with this challenge, what AC Mode is doing right now?
AC Mode, actually, we have several activities. If our role is to protect mountain environments, if our role is to improve livelihoods of mountain people, I think it's quite obvious that we really have to pay a lot of attention to mountain women. So we do several activities. The first thing we have to do is, even in our planning process, we have to already include women's role right across our different programs. But we have a range of programs dealing with ecosystems, dealing with water, how to improve livelihoods, looking at climate change, where we include women. And let me just give a few examples of that. One example is in a program that looks at reducing degradation and deforestation, right? Some people call that REDD+. So we know that women play an incredibly important role in the management of forests. We also know that Nepal has been quite successful in their community management of forests. So we have to get women interested in this program of keeping forests healthy, basically. So there is a a benefit. The idea with REDD Plus is if forests are maintained, if carbon is generated in the forest, then a reward should come to that community. Then the idea with that monetary award is that people should benefit from it. So then the idea that we tested was to look at cook stoves or biogas that would benefit women, so they don't have to go necessarily into the forest and chop wood. So we tried that out and it was highly appreciated by many women. A second example that we're starting up now is looking at spring sources. So if spring sources are drying up, that's what we hear, how do we revitalize them? And that will be of tremendous benefit for women, so they don't have to walk as far for water. Second example is we're trying out solar-powered pumps, right, that we can get easier access to water for women. Yesterday, we have been working also with on how to adapt to change, how to adapt to climate change. And one part of adaptation is to be able to get the resources, the financial resources from government sources or other sources, or to express a demand. What do I really need? So what we have been doing is working with women, both in Kabri and Sinduli, to empower them. We call this building their capacity to adapt to change. So we work on women's leadership training, women's empowerment, that actually has them work better with the men to express better what will help women in these villages. And we heard those women yesterday, and it was quite remarkable, the voice, the empowerment that those women have had. So they'll be ready to then, if there's an idea about springs or solar pumps, they'll be very much ready for that. I wanted to tell you one other example. What we need to do is really try to get women's leadership in the forefront. And so what we also did was supported 3 Nepali women who were the first ones to climb K2 mountain in Pakistan. So that fits with Isimot, right? An exchange of people in mountain areas. These women, the reason for us supporting was not necessarily that they, as a mountaineer getting to the top. It's that they're new women leaders. With that experience, they can be on stage and tell people about the importance of women. They can be an inspiration for women and be women leaders themselves. So that was also quite successful and quite a good experience for us.
Okay, so what do you do? I mean, what sort of activities you do in Isimot, with Isimot, to improve the role of women in Nepal or in other countries as well?
Yeah. What is important, we at Isimot have 2 different approaches. One is we look outside. What kind of programs are we doing that will help rural women in Nepal or our other countries? But secondly, we look inside our organization, thinking that we have to set an example at home in our office place as well. So we actually do several activities. One is we have a women's leadership training that we do with our women, where we're trying to give women the skills and power to take up those leadership roles. Secondly, when we recruit people, we're really actively are looking for women to apply, right? We have a very competitive process at Isimot, but the first is to get women to apply. And then if we have a woman and a man who are equal, we probably choose the woman in that case. So we've actually been recruiting quite a few more women. We try at the office to see if there are ways to promote women into leadership positions as well. We have what we call a gender sensitivity course, where we look at how men and women interact in the office. And I think that's helped very much to give women a better voice within the office, also for men to listen better. So we actually do quite a bit within the office itself. And the idea is that we at Isimot should also be examples and set a role for for this gender relationship, both in the office place and beyond.
Okay, so with just on the occasion of International Women's Day, so how did you celebrate at your office?
One very important day for us, and one actually quite a fun day, is International Women's Day. It's fun and it's serious at the same time. So one is we want to celebrate the accomplishment of women, right? But second, we want to better understand the struggle as women are trying to get equality in society. So we get together with the women, we appreciate them, everybody, each and every woman at the office with a gift. We have a lunch, in particular we celebrate, we have a lunch for women. By the way, the men a few years ago said, why only women? So we actually have it for men and women to celebrate women's accomplishments. Then I have to give a speech, and that's important. Actually, it's important because I have to think about it, right? How have we been doing in this regard? So I lay out our achievements and then areas that we'd like to work on further. Then we get more serious and have we usually bring in guests to talk about particular issues about women and men in mountain areas. And this week, on Friday, we had the women from Kavre and Sinduli, and they were quite inspiring, how they've really come up and are leaders in the community. And then what we do is we give what we call a Gender Innovation Award for people in the office who have done well. And it ends up very much on a positive note with the office. But it's definitely a good day to check in and see how we're doing.
So it means it went really well.
I was happy. I could tell at the end people were smiling at the end of the day.
So maybe last question for you today. So what's your advice on way forward?
Yeah, I think the advice is to keep the issue of women's empowerment right up at the forefront in our day-to-day activities, not just on International Women's Day, but keep it there. I think it is important. And for many reasons, I think when we hear the issues about, there are many issues we can feel proud about, like the education for women, more and more women taking roles in the office. But there's still a long way to go, and probably we get discouraged, say, if we hear about violence against women. So we have to keep this issue going. Now, part of it is the women's empowerment, women's leadership, but the other part is men, what we can do. And I believe a lot of it is respecting our women, listening very closely to what women have to say, and giving the opportunity as much as we can for women leadership, for women coming up, and there's all kinds of leadership roles for women coming up in society today. And I believe Nepal is very much moving forward in this direction, and I'm happy to be part of that process as well.
Okay, sir, thank you so much for coming in.
Okay, thank you very much, and namaste and happy Women's Day once again to all.
To you too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we come to an end of this special edition of Mountain Bihani Sambad. So thank you so much, David Molden, sir. He's the Director General of ICMOR, that is International Center for Integrated Mountain Development. So we'll be coming on this show tomorrow with new topic and new guest. Thank you so much for watching this show today, ladies and gentlemen. I want to wish you all a happy International Women's Day once again. Thank you so much for watching this show. Thank you. Namaste.